So Wishworld aired just the other day, and it's the first part of the two-part finale for Doctor Who Season 2. Now, I thought this episode was pretty good, but much like a lot of the other Doctor Who finales, it has so many ideas packed into it. Now, I wouldn't go as far as saying it was confusing, but there's a lot going on here, and I wonder if it will all get wrapped up in the final part. This part being the reality war. Despite there being loads of setup over the past few seasons and within the episode Wishworld itself, there are 5 things that I feel need to be answered and solved within this episode. So without wasting time, let's just get straight into this list. Now, the first is a very obvious one, and it is fixing the broken reality. Now, it might be confusing as to why I'm mentioning it in this video, because that seems like an obvious point. But it's quite a big aspect of where Wishworld ended off. Not to mention the fact we're meant to have a spin-off with Unit, and obviously with the world in its current state, that's not going to be the case. And we feel like we had some setup for that episode within Lucky Day, so having a reality-changing event like this, I wonder how it will all come back together to set that up. Will we return to the reality we have seen the past couple of seasons, or will it be a new one entirely? Who knows? For me, they will obviously fix reality. That's not really the question, it's more about how they do it. It's how much the Rani has influenced this world. It's how much Conrad has influenced this world. It's what Omega does to this world. I wonder how all of those things affect and leave the Doctor Who universe. And whilst I think it's probably better to leave the world as it was, I do see this season finale changing it in some way. I just hope it doesn't feel like a retcon they can just do because of magical abilities from the Underverse. Now, the second thing they got to take care of is just mentioning and talking about the Rani's existence. The first of which is, how is she getting around in time? Now, I haven't seen Classic Who. I'm pretty sure she has a TARDIS, so that could be the easy answer, especially with her appearing on all different planets and throughout time. It's not like she only appeared on Earth. Now, the next is the fourth wall breaks. We need that explained. The Rani is just any other Time Lord. How can she break the fourth wall? We really need to know this, I think. If you saw the video I uploaded last week, you will know that my theory is that the Rani's experiments are on the gods and that she has their abilities, hence why she can break the fourth wall. But it seems like in this last episode or two, she doesn't do that. So I'm really wondering now how they're actually going to tie it in, if it isn't that. Again, stated in my last video, I feel like Mrs. Flood, the one that we've seen throughout the last 2 seasons, hasn't all been pre the finale. I think some of the scenes have actually been post the finale, purely for the fact that she knows of the Doctor's impending doom, and if she's just the Time Lord, she should not know that. I feel like she's always talking of the Doctor's demise like she knows it's happened. Sure, it could just be a villain planning and hoping that their evil plans actually go through, but it feels more than that. And just to add, it feels like she's telling a story each time, a bit like Conrad was in this Wishworld. It feels like she's a narrator of the story, and I wonder if this 2-part finale ends with her doing that. The final thing I would like to note with the Rani is how she's still alive. I know in the 2005 run we had Gallifrey's destroyed, and the Doctor is the last of the Time Lords. That was played on so heavily, and was such a key moment when the Master returned. Obviously, since then we've had Gallifrey back, and since then also had it destroyed again. I can understand Gallifrey being destroyed in the Time War, wiping out all Time Lords. I actually believe that he was the last alive. I don't believe the Master's destroying of Gallifrey, killing every Time Lord in existence. I just don't buy it, and I'm really hoping it's not just the Doctor believed the Master at face value, because there's no way. The third thing we have to wrap up is Susan Foreman's return. I mean, there's no way the flashes in the past 2 episodes are it for Susan. She has to be in this episode. She has to play into this somehow. I think the leading theory is going to actually be with the Space Babies and Poppy. Maybe Poppy's Susan's mother, with her being the Doctor's daughter and thus creating that circle. I mean, it's not directly related to Susan at all, but people have also thrown out the theory that Poppy could be the Timeless Child. I know that's a bit strange if then the Doctor's kind of his own parent, especially based on the line of the Doctor at the end of Wishworld, saying that Poppy might actually be real.
I have a daughter! Poppy is real!
But that is another theory going on. I think the main issue is that despite there being not too much setup for Susan, beyond a couple mentions in season 1,
1963, I parked the TARDIS in a junkyard and I lived there with my granddaughter Susan.
I think RTD is going to try and connect things to make her work. I don't think he's just going to bring Susan back after saying he's got a granddaughter. I think he's going to make her related to characters we've seen, which is why I think the line of the Doctor saying, oh, I haven't had kids yet, but she was my granddaughter, is going to come back into play.
If you've got a granddaughter, that means you've got kids.
Well, not quite. Not yet.
With the Doctor having Poppy come from this reality war sort of event, creating his child that then has Susan. I can really see Rusty Davies doing that. Whilst it feels we're changing something that is like 60 years old at this point, I don't hate it as an explanation, and it's quite a fun Doctor Who way to do it. I just hope it's explained really well. Because the Space Babies don't really seem like Time Lords, and I hope it's not just using the actor because she was in Space Babies. I feel like that episode has to tie in a lot more if that were the case, and I don't see how. Also, regardless of who they make Susan out to be or how they connect to the story, we still have to see their reunion. And based on where this episode ends off and how we might not have a season for a while, I really don't know how they're going to squeeze in a very justified Susan reunion, have her either regenerate or leave again, so essentially have a goodbye, and wrap everything else up. Like, she seems so detached currently, so it will be interesting to see that, but we have to get that in some way. Now, the fourth one for me is actually a by-generation explanation. I think a lot of people have just said, oh, it's the toy maker, because that was hinted to with a line in the 60th. And that could be true for the 15th Doctor, but like I said earlier, going back to my video I made the other day, I think the Rani is the cause for her own by-generation, and potentially by-generation for everybody else. I don't think it's a coincidence they brought it back and made the Rani by-generate. It just seems too convenient, especially for something that seems to be a myth. Also, the way she acts about it, she's so casual about it happening, really. She's not even shocked. If anything, she's just annoyed by it happening, despite knowing it will. And I think that could be because she's actually made it herself, or she's maybe self-experimented to try and get it to work. With her past as a biochemist, I can really see her doing that sort of thing, whether it's through actual science or borrowing the toy maker's abilities and infusing it with Time Lord DNA. I don't know. Explain it how you will, but I think there's going to be more to that than just, oh, the toy maker did it. Because then why would it affect every other Time Lord and not just the Doctor? That explanation works in the giggle, but if you're bringing it back, I don't think it does. Also, I really want the by-generation to just wrap up. Like, I like it as a gimmick, but there's so many implications for it when you think of it in the future. Like, if by-generation becomes the normal, Ncuti has to be a main character then, in his final episode with the other Doctor. There's no easy way to get out of the fact that there's going to be two, and you can't always duplicate the TARDIS, and you can't always just have an emotional goodbye between both Doctors. I think he knows that, and he's using it as his fun gimmick in this era, hence why he's brought it back with the Rani, because he knows he can get away with that as she's a scientist, and then he's going to bring it to a full close with this season. With it being a reality-bending situation, and the connection between the Toymaker and the Underverse coming back, I can really see all of the gods in the Pantheon coming to a close here, with by-generation going with it. I know a lot of people don't like the by-generation, but I think the fact they brought it back with the Rani is just clear evidence that they're going to do something more with it and bring it to a close. Also, someone asked Rusty Davies on Instagram just the other day, will there be an answer to by-generation? And he hinted that there potentially will be. So let's hope we get something that's a bit more concrete and justified. The final thing I think they have to do. Now skip to the timestamp on your screen now if you want to skip these spoilers, but they only come from the next time trailer, so it's not too bad anyway. But I think they need to actually bring Gallifrey back. They have hinted at it in that next time trailer, and it seems like the big plan for the Rani, but they need to do it. Now, I personally really don't like the fact that they destroyed it, then brought it back, then destroyed it. Now they're teasing bringing it back. We have just had too much back and forth of it's destroyed, it's back, it's destroyed, it's back. We need it to either stay here or stay gone. And it just hasn't done that for me. I'm personally more on the fence of bring it in. The Doctor doesn't always have to see them if they're there. And they don't always have to interrupt the Doctor. It's all time travel stuff. You can just have things happen when you need them. So Time Lords living in the background, I don't think that really matters too much. I also just want to see more of the planet and the characters on that planet and how it interacts with the Doctor. I want to know more of that. I think the biggest issue is we had it brought back, and the only time we went there is in Hellbent. And despite me loving Hellbent, it doesn't use Gallifrey much, and then it's never seen again until it's destroyed. I think teasing its return and then not bringing it back would be such a missed opportunity, because if you do it again, I think it's going to be one too many times. Also, the fact they're bringing back this first Time Lord ever, Omega, I feel like that kind of works at bringing back Gallifrey. My running theory, once again, the video I made the other day, seriously, you might as well go check it out. I mean, it was about theories for this episode, but some of it still connects and can still work. But I do now think the Rani's master plan really is to unleash Omega, the founder of time travel, to have the Doctor, the founder of regeneration, and bring them together to create a new Gallifrey. Or what I have seen floating around in terms of theories recently is potentially a bootstrap paradox of them creating the original Gallifrey. I know that may be going too timey-wimey even for Doctor Who, as in, like, the creation of the Time Lords are in their own bootstrap, but at the same time, I think that would be hilarious and actually quite brilliant. With us not seeing Omega 2 in this episode, people don't fully believe that we'll see him in next episode, potentially, and that he'll just be unleashed, and then that'll be a threat, say, for Season 3 or onwards. And I'm also not against this idea. We could say have Gallifrey return, and then the Rani is still controlling and destroying the Earth, and the Doctor saves the day by defeating her and Conrad. All of that goes back to normal, but we still got Gallifrey and Omega in control of that somewhere else. I could quite enjoy that idea. I just don't think they should tease Gallifrey's return this heavily just to not do it again. I think there's so much potential after this long period of time, and I really hope that they actually lean into it for once. Either way, Wishworld has got me really excited for the reality war, but I do hope at least these 5 things get resolved, if not everything else. I would love to hear all your crazy theories, see if they align with mine, see if they're nothing like it. That's part of the fun. And with that said, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.